Good morning. I'm Councillor Russell Dodd, Chairman of the Planning and Rights of Way Committee. I would like to welcome you all to this meeting, which is both taking place here at Hope House and being broadcast live on YouTube. There are no planned fire drills for today. Item number 1 on today's agenda, the draft minutes of the last meeting held on the 16th of December 2025 are included as item 1 of the agenda. Can we accept the minutes as a true and correct record of the meeting, please? We all vote on that? Thank you. The minutes are agreed. Item number 2, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence today? There are no apologies for absence. Thank you. Item number 3, declarations of interest by members and officers. Do any members or officers present have any interest to declare?
I've got an interest. I wish to declare an interest in item 5 on the agenda. I'm a director of Via East Midlands Limited. Via has provided consultation advice to the local planning authority in relation to this application. I have not been involved in providing that advice, and Via has no financial interest in the outcome of this decision. I am satisfied that this interest does not affect or prejudice my ability to consider the matter impartially, and I will determine the application on its planning merits. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Item number 4, declarations of lobbying. Do any members present have any instances of lobbying to declare? No? Thank you. Item number 5, Ness Farm and Cromwell Quarry. Number 5 on the agenda is to consider a planning application for a southern extension to the quarry site and 3 variation applications at Ness Farm and Cromwell Quarry. I move the recommendations in the report.
Thank you, Chairman. I second the recommendations and retain the right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. I invite Emily, Principal Planning Officer, to present the report and any further information relevant to the application. Emily, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The report before you is a joint report comprising 4 applications. The lead application is for a proposed extension to an existing sand and gravel quarry. The quarry site at Cromwell has been operating for around 10 years and has been worked and extended incrementally. The proposed extraction area is estimated to provide 575,000 tonnes of sand and gravel and would operate over approximately 2 years. The remaining 3 applications have been submitted to vary conditions on existing operational permitted sites and seek to vary plans and time limits to facilitate the extension. This would involve extended time for using the haul road and plant site and extended time for restoration of some parcels. So before you is the site location plan. The site itself comprises 8.5 hectares of arable land. To the east of the site runs the River Trent, and to the west is the A1 trunk road. And the village of Cromwell is located west of the A1. You've then got villages of North Muscombe and Carlton-on-Trent to the south and north, respectively. This next slide just provides an overlay of the various permissions that have been granted at the site. So the area in the red hatchings is the application site. To the east of this is an application that was granted in 2023, and that's currently being worked out, although the reserves are almost exhausted in that area. And then the current application, described as phases 11C and 11D, overlays this down the central areas because this is where the haul road is that's required to continue being used. The main plant site is located to the north within the dotted line area, and the sites have been worked incrementally southwards over time. Now, this is a phasing plan showing the proposed phased extraction. So initially, the phase proceeds down into the purple area marked as 11C South. It then heads west towards the A1 into the next purple section, and then returns northwards before eventually the haul road area is worked over. So as such, the current application works immediately south of phase 11B, which is the phase that's being worked at the moment. The consultee responses are set out in paragraph 37 onwards of your report. We've had no objections or comments from Cromwell Parish Council. The Notts Wildlife Trust has objected to the original application, but we haven't received any further comments since having the updated information through Regulation 25. And these did resolve most of their issues, and we've had no other objections to the proposals. The slide before you shows the proposed restoration of the site. A net gain for BNG has been demonstrated as possible to achieve, and the proposed restoration is for open water, ponds and wetlands with reed beds and some neutral grassland, meadow and wet woodland. It's anticipated these would provide habitats for invertebrates, farmland birds such as red-listed yellowhammer and linnets, reed warbler, sedge warblers and a wide variety of wildfowl, as well as for bats. The retained sand faces would provide nesting habitat for sand martins and kingfishers and would also be attractive to invertebrates. And the combination of scrapes and grassland would deliver habitat for lapwing and other waders. So some photographs now. This is the site access, main access to the site. And the next photo is an aerial photograph taken. So the access actually comes in at the top right of the photo. It's just off the edge of the photo. And then you come down the road into the office and weighbridge and parking area. And then the plant site is over to the left-hand side of that photograph. And then this is another photograph just showing the plant that's operating at the site. So this sorts and grades the sand and gravel into different sizes, and you can sort of just make out that it's coming off the end there into those different piles according to size. So this next aerial photograph shows the previous and current extraction area, which is south of the crossing point. So the crossing point is labelled on that plan there, so that crosses a public right of way. This photo was taken a week last Friday and it was quite underwater at that point, so it is not normally as wet as that, but obviously due to the heavy rainfall. So during the site visit on Friday, those who attended that, we walked across that crossing point and then we turned right and then we followed into the next field southwards, and we peeped through the hedge roughly where Jonathan is showing you now. I think it was the next bit of hedge up, wasn't it? Okay. Towards the southern extraction. Yeah, next one. This next, this is another drone photograph. I've tried to mark on here phase 11C and 11C south and west. It is quite rough because it's something I've done that's not to scale and the drone does distort the shape, but it just gives you an idea there of where the extraction zone would be in relation to Ness Farm and the River Trent. So the following two slides I'm going to show you are photos taken from the submitted landscape visual impact assessment. Photo 1 at the top of the screen is the southeastern corner of the application site, and that's taken from North Musken Footpath 9. So that's the path that follows alongside the River Trent and it's looking westwards. And then the second photo is from roughly the same position on the photograph, but looking northwards. So the extraction site is on the left and centre of that bottom photo. The next photograph is taken from the same footpath, but we're further north at Cromwell Lock. And the application site will be to the right-hand side of the photo. It's mainly screened from view by the vegetation, that one. And then the photo below is from the moorings facility block to the south of the lock, and is looking directly at the site, which would be to the west, and you've got an existing bund there. So the key issues associated with the application are flood risk and hydrology, ecology and B&G, and impacts on the historic environment with particular reference to archaeology and the two scheduled ancient monuments that lie nearby. The application has been accompanied by an environmental statement and supplemented by additional information requested by officers, which has been considered along with other issues in detail. Whilst the site is not allocated in the Minerals Local Plan, policy MP1 does allow for aggregate extraction outside allocated areas where a need can be demonstrated. So whilst the sand and gravel land bank is relatively healthy at 15.47 years, given the requirement in the MPPF to maintain a land bank of at least 7 years, permitting this extension would only increase the land bank by around 6 months. This modest increase wouldn't prejudice the delivery of other allocated sites, but it would maintain that supply of mineral from this site and also ensure that these important reserves are not sterilised. If they're not worked now, whilst the existing site infrastructure is there, such as the access road and the plant site, obviously it becomes less economical to then set that up and work it in the future. On balance, therefore, it's considered that need for the extension has been demonstrated. We've then just got a further photo there, which was taken on the site visit on Friday from sort of roughly the middle of the proposed extraction area. And then the following photo just shows an area of hedgerow that's proposed to be removed. So the next slide is the HGV routing. The numbers of lorries entering and leaving the site wouldn't change. They're currently controlled by a Section 106 agreement, which requires HGVs to use the slip roads onto the A1 for vehicles accessing and egressing the southbound carriageway. And then any using the northbound carriageway don't pass through the centre of the village. It is proposed to replace condition 7 in Appendix 1 of your report for the southern extension permission with an alternative wording. This is just to provide some clarity and certainty that the routing obligations set out in that original 106 will continue to be complied with for the extension site. And I have put the proposed condition on the slide there for you to see. So it's a traffic management plan that we envisage would broadly follow that agreed 106. So the impacts on designated heritage assets, including scheduled ancient monuments to the south of the proposed extension area. So that's number 7. And then also the Grade 1 listed Church of St Giles in Cromwell Village, as well as the non-designated heritage assets have been carefully considered. The MPPF affords great weight to protection of both the designated and non-designated heritage assets. And in this case, it had been judged there would be less than substantial harm to these assets. And this is considered to be outweighed by the public benefits of extracting the mineral, and this is outlined in the report. In terms of environmental effects, having assessed the main issues and potential impacts of the proposed development at both the operational and restoration stage, officers consider there to be no unacceptable impacts, either as an individual matter or in cumulation with other effects. This image at the end here is taken of another area of extraction at the site at an earlier time. So it's just to give members an idea of what an extraction area would look like. You can see the bunding around the edge, and the noise and dust impacts associated with any extraction are temporary and mitigated by appropriate conditions. And this slide here is taken, again, was taken on Friday. It's an example of one of the restored areas. It's restored to be a lake. It has got a bit more water in it than it should at present due to the flooding, but you can see quite clearly the lake and the planting that's taken place. And we did see some swans and oyster catchers using that when we were on site on Friday. So finally, Chairman, the proposed development is considered to be in accordance with the development plan as a whole, and with particular reference to the Nottinghamshire Minerals Local Plan, and it's considered sustainable development that should be facilitated by a grant of planning permission. The application is therefore before you with a recommendation to approve the main EIA application and the 3 Section 73 variation applications, subject to conditions listed in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. I now invite Emma Lucy Pearson, representing the applicant, Cemex, to speak on the application. Emma, you have 3 minutes to speak and you'll be notified when there's 30 seconds left. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and members. My name is Emma Pearman and I'm a planner at Cemex. Cemex's quarry at Cromwell has been operating since 2016 and has been a key supplier of sand and gravel to the local market. Given its location, the quarry has excellent access onto the A1, so is well placed to bring sand and gravel to local construction projects in the area without disturbing local communities. It is notable that not a single resident or parish council has objected to these applications before you today. This illustrates that the quarry operates to high environmental standards and does not cause any nuisance or amenity issues, partly also due to its location away from the nearest villages. The quarry is about to run out of sand and gravel reserves. There is a clear and long-standing demand for the mineral in this location, and this proposed extension is crucial to keep the quarry going. Granting this application will safeguard the local supply of mineral for a longer period, as well as the jobs of quarry staff, contractors and drivers. The extension area would be worked in approximately 2 years at the same rate as the existing site. When permission for the quarry was granted originally back in 2016, the end date imposed for extraction was 2028. So with this proposed extension, the end date would only require a short extension of time to 2029. The rates of extraction, vehicle numbers and operating hours would remain the same. As explained in the officer's report, whilst the extension area is not an allocated site, if it isn't worked while the plant site is still in situ, then the mineral is likely to be sterilised, as it would not be worth setting up a new plant site at a later date for a small amount of sand and gravel. Whilst there is a land bank in excess of 7 years, a significant portion of this land bank is currently tied up in sites that are inactive, so it is not a true picture of the supply in Nottinghamshire. Allowing this site also fulfills a current shortfall in production capacity, whilst other permitted and allocated sites elsewhere in the county are not yet operational. There are a large number of benefits associated with the application. Supplying mineral to building projects locally prevents it having to travel from further afield, reducing HGV emissions on the roads overall. There will also be significant environmental benefits upon restoration. The site will be restored to priority habitats identified by the Nottinghamshire Biodiversity Action Plan and will be a mixture of agricultural land and nature conservation areas. There would be a biodiversity net gain with the management and maintenance of this secured for 30 years. CEMEX appreciate the support of the County Council to allow us to continue to supply essential sand and gravel from this location in a way that does not cause any issues for local communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Do officers wish to respond to any matters that have been raised there at all? No? Any members prior before I open the debate? No? Right, thank you. If there are no further questions from the members, I will now open the floor for debate. Please indicate if you would like to speak. Councillor Barlow.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, just one or two sort of queries. Obviously, after the quarry is finished, it's going to be turned into, it's going to be restored. Who will maintain that? Because I noticed one of the parish councils is concerned that it could become something like a commercial fishery or something that will gather obviously additional vehicles, etc. So that was one question. Did we ever find out why the otters had disappeared? And obviously, previously, one of the parish councils had 3 complaints quite a while back. But do we know what those complaints were? And is it possible that with this new quarry, those could come back again? Do we know whether or not, it says on page 45.234, there's an additional 5 or 6 contractors. Will they be local? Because it mentions local employment. Do we know if they will definitely be local contractors? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the committee? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Chairman, and sorry that I was unable to attend the site visit, but I've heard from colleagues that it was very worthwhile, so thank you to the Chairman and committee officers for organising that. Can I just, can we go back, Emily, to slide 16, please, because it always worries me when we sit in planning committee meetings and we are approving something on the basis of a future agreement coming into place with traffic management. I just wonder, the County Council, if you look at paragraph 61, the Highways Department have no objection other than asking for the access to be retained as it is and lorry wheel washing to continue in place, so avoiding the village of Cromwell, which is obviously exactly what committee members would like to see as well. But it always worries me that we are relying on that to come in the future after we've been in this meeting, because then we have no idea what's happened after that point, after the vote on the traffic management. So can you just give us reassurance, please, that the traffic management plan as on slide 15 isn't expected to change in any way, subject to slide 16? I just want to see that reassurance, please.
Thank you, councillors. Any other members? Councillor Brown?
It mentions about the whole road going across a footpath. How will that be managed? And there's a bridle way. Will it have any effects on the bridle way? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members? Okay, we'll let the officers respond accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. I might take them slightly out of order because we're just finding out one of the answers for you. But in terms of commercial fishery, I'm not aware there's any proposal for that. I don't think that's the applicant's proposal. There would be a 30-year management as part of the BNG anyway. And any commercial operation sort of changes in that way, I think would need a separate planning permission for a change of use in the future. So that could be dealt with at that point. Contractors, we don't have a control over where the contractors come from, so I can't give you that assurance, I'm afraid. In terms of the Hall Road over the footpath, that already operates at present and has been doing for some time. It is a gated Hall Road. There's lots of signage on there as well. I don't know if we can get the photo back up. But that has been operating for quite some time and quite successfully. So just to reassure you that that is managed through the gated system to make sure that it's safe for any users of that public right of way. In terms of the proposed condition, we do already have a 106, which dates back to 2016, and it relates to the plant site. So anything going through that plant site gets caught by the 106. We're really doing what we like to call belt and braces with planning. So we'd like to have a condition as well, just to tie that extra bit into there. In any case, there is a weight restriction through the village. So even if an HGV wanted to go through the village, that would be contrary to the weight restriction that's on there. So they would still be directed that route that's shown on the routing plan.
Yep. Yeah, just in terms of complaints that we've received since the site became operational in 2016, we've had 2 complaints. One in 2017, apparently related to the installation of some floodlighting on the site, which I'm not sure was whether that was covered by conditions or not, but that was dealt with. And then in 2022, we had a complaint on a couple of issues. One was the failure to keep the footpath clear, which I assume was related to where the HGVs cross over, and also in relation to the HGV routing, there was an alleged breach of the routing agreement as well. Yes, which relates to what Councillor Smith's related to. But yeah, in terms of, that's one alleged breach of routing agreement in 10 years of operations. And we do have the powers in place to deal with those should we need to, and we're satisfied that we will continue to have those powers in the future if planning permission is granted today. And there is, of course, again, there is the weight restriction through the central Cromwell village as well. So when vehicles, if they're leaving the site and they go over the A1, they can only turn right to head towards the A1 because of the weight restriction that's well signposted posted on the left. Thank you.
Any other members wish to debate? Councillor Chowdhury.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chairman and Vice Chairman and this officers who's attending today, and excellent reporters here in front of us. And thank you, our colleagues. And after listening to Councillor Barlow and Councillor Sam Smith, which is taking into account, those questions always will be there. And so after reading this report, I believe there is few areas that we can look into, like, for example, Ness Farm. Is that collaboration? I just want to ask the question to the officer. Is that collaboration with the Quarry, which is, I don't really see the clear evidence that are they related to each other. This is my question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're struggling to find the exact information. Ness Farm have been consulted as a local resident, and careful consideration has been given to noise impacts and impacts of dust, and those matters in terms of the report. So they have been consulted and are aware of the application. We haven't received any comments from the tenant there.
Councillor Chowdhury.
Yeah, just want to clarify this one, please. Are they related to this planning permission?
Just for the purposes of planning, obviously, it doesn't matter who owns the land in regards to the applications, as long as the relevant adjoining landowners have been consulted appropriately, anybody can submit an application on land regardless of ownership. So we're not really concerned today with ownerships of land. All we're concerned about is ensuring that the proper procedures have been followed, and the officers have confirmed that appropriate consultations have been carried out and no objections have been received. Measures have been put in place to make sure that impacts are reduced on that property as well. So from a procedural point of view, we've obviously covered all those bases, and as I say, land ownership doesn't really come into our deliberations today.
Thank you, Charlotte, for that clarification.
Thank you very much.
Any other members of the committee? Any further debate required? Councillor Brown?
The Environmental Agency's got no objections, but it previously requested a planning condition relating to hydrological monitoring scheme, but since had a document and they've withdrawn that, or it's preceded that. Can you explain what that's all about, please?
Yes, so you're quite right. The Environment Agency asked for a scheme of hydrological monitoring. The applicant has submitted that before we've come to committee. I have put that on the website, and we've also conditioned it. Condition 10 on your report, so page 56. So we've conditioned that monitoring shall take place, and that's to manage, to look at the quality of the water. So it's grounded surface water, and make sure there's no deterioration to any water features nearby as a result of extraction, because it can obviously impact the water levels and the quality.
Thank you.
Councillor Barlow?
Sorry, thank you, Chairman. Can I just ask, on page 130, it says there is a B&G pre-application due in. Do we know when that is actually due?
So B&G is required to be submitted before commencement of development, and that's on any development. The applicants indicated they're keen to start on site should they secure permission today, so we are anticipating that to be quite quick, that we get that plan in. That's obviously just the plan of where it will go, and it doesn't go in until restoration phase, and then we monitor that for 30 years to make sure it all establishes.
Thank you.
Any further debate from anybody on the committee today? Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Can you just explain, I think it's paragraph 30, about it's going to be done in stages, how that will work? When does restoration start as soon as one's finished? Thank you.
Yes, so I don't know if we can go back to the phasing plan.
Second.
You might be better looking at it on your sheet because it's actually quite small when you view it on the words on here. But yeah, basically as they work through, they backfill and start to restore. So on the current quarry site, we would release parcels into aftercare as and when they're restored to an acceptable standard. So it's a gradual restoration as they go along. So perhaps see on the middle slide, where the purple area that's been extracted then changes to a restoration area, and then so on onto the slide on the right hand side where it moves into restoration.
Thank you. Just one more question, Chairman.
Please go ahead.
There's going to be no, do I understand there's going to be no increase in traffic in lorries?
Yes, so it's proposed to be the same volume of traffic as what's at present.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else for the debate? Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. On the subject of restoration, speaking from experience of CEMEX in my division at East Leek, I can only speak highly of them. The restoration project, in fact, it looks better than it was before it was a quarry. And in fact, more species have arrived that were not there before the quarry started. So I've got every faith in CEMEX doing what they say they're going to do. And as far as East Leek's concerned, they've been very good neighbours.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. I'd concur with your comments there completely. Having visited the site on Friday, it was great to see the restoration work that had been completed and the introduction of certain species. And I think we all agreed it will look quite splendid, actually. Thank you. Is there any further debate from any members today? Thank you. As the debate is now of this item is now concluded, I will now move to the vote. Do any members request that the voting on this item is recorded? Thank you. Right, we will vote on each recommendation individually, as there are 4 parts to this application. I will read the recommendation one at a time now. It's recommended 273 item A on our planning pack. Planning permission is granted for 3/24/02157/CMA proposed southern extension to the quarry, phases 11C, 11D, for the extraction of approximately 575,000 tonnes of sand and gravel with restoration to nature conservation. Would all those in favour of approving the recommendation please raise your hand? Thank you, that's carried. Item B, planning permission is granted for 3/24/02158 CMA variation of conditions 1, 2, 3, 15, 21, 22, 25 and 26 of the planning permission 3/22/01787/CMA to allow an update to the working plans, the retention and use of the plant site, haul road, access and silt lagoons as an extension of time in which to complete the remaining phases in connection with a further extension at Ness Farm. All those in favour of approving this recommendation, please raise your hand. Thank you, that's carried. Item 273C. Planning permission is granted for 3/24/02160/CMA variation of conditions 1, 2, 5, 12 and 48 of planning permission 3/22/0188/CMA to allow continued use of the whole road and amended restoration and working schemes in connection with a further extension at Ness Farm. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimous. And finally, 273 item D, planning permission is granted for 3/24/02160/CMA to allow an amended restoration scheme and an extension of time in which to complete working in connection with a further extension at Ness Farm and an extension of time in which to submit archaeological details. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you very much, committee. That's carried as well. Item number 6 on the agenda today is the guidance on the validation of planning applications. This is to consider a report advising members of the consultation exercise undertaken on the proposed changes to the County Council's guidance for the validation of planning applications. The report notes the responses received, seeks approval of the proposed changes and formal adoption of the revised document. I move the recommendations in the report.
Thank you, Chairman. I second the recommendations and remain the right to speak. Thank you.
I invite Jonathan Smith, Team Manager of Development Management, to present the report. Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this report seeks approval of an updated guidance for the validation of planning applications. The guidance comprises 2 parts: the statutory national information requirements that must be submitted with all applications, and local information requirements, also called the local list, which gives local planning authorities the scope to set out what additional information should be submitted depending on the application's type and scale. Paragraph 2 of the report confirms that the NPPF requires that the local list be reviewed at least every 2 years, otherwise it cannot be used to validate applications. The guidance was last reviewed in March 2024. A failure to keep the guidance up to date could lead to the submission of less comprehensive applications, an increase in requests for additional information during the application process, and slower and less robust decisions made on applications. The process of reviewing the guidance began with officers and our internal experts reviewing the existing document and making a number of suggested changes. This resulted in us publishing a new draft guidance for consultation, which was sent out to districts, parishes, neighbouring counties, key external constituencies, and applicants and agents we regularly work with. The report details the 6 responses that have been received from Sport England, the Coal Authority, Historic England, Eastleigh Parish Council, Natural England and British Gypsum. Details of how officers have responded to these comments are set out in the report, and some further minor amendments have been made to the draft guidance in light of these responses. Key changes that are proposed include incorporating more design matters into the design and access statement section as part of the national requirements, and further detailed information on biodiversity net gain, which had only just been introduced when the validation guidance was last updated 2 years ago. Again, this has been moved to the national requirements given the statutory nature of BNG. Most of the other changes reflect comments we have received from our own specialists all through the consultation process. Subject to member approval, the new guidance will be published on the County Council's website. Officers also seek approval to make minor changes to the guidance in the future, such as when there are paragraph number changes to the NPPF, so long as these changes do not materially affect the guidance. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does any of the committee have any comments or questions regarding the report? No. If there are no further questions or comments from members, we will proceed to the vote. All in favour? Thank you. Recommendations are carried. Item number 7, and the final item on today's planning committee, the Development Management Progress Report. This on the agenda is a regular Development Management Progress Report. I invite Jonathan Smith, Team Manager, Development Management, to present the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is, as you say, this is the report we bring to committee every meeting. It just summarises the applications that have been received and determined since we last met, and it also includes a schedule of applications likely to come before committee in the coming months, including at the moment we have an application for the extraction and export of silica sand from a site on Crownthorne Way, Forest Town near Mansfield, which at the moment is scheduled for committee in April. We'll be able to confirm that close to the time, but happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any of the committee have any comments or questions regarding the report? Thank you. The report is noted. As there's no further business, I will now bring this meeting to a close for today. Thank you for the officers and the committee turning up, and I'll bring this meeting to a close. Enjoy the rest of a very nice sunny day. Thank you.
Chair.